1 week prior. At nighttime, we see the community of Eden. All was quiet in the town. In the pitch-black room, Rachel is startled awake as she shoots up from the bed, gasping. She woke up from a horrible nightmare, sweating and panting. She tries to calm herself down as she softly cries into her hands. Tyler wakes up not too long after as he looks and sees Rachel staring outside the window. "Rachel?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. She had tears running down her face. "What are you doing?" he asked before seeing. "Whoa, what's wrong?" he asked, concerned. Their lamplight was on as the siblings talked. "I keep thinking about that Patriot I butchered. I know he had to die, but when I killed him, I let it all out. My pain, my anger, my hate," she said, confessing. "I had his head until there was nothing left. He was already dead, but I kept going. Like a monster," she said. "You're not a monster, Rachel," he told her. "What I did makes me feel like I am," she said. "I think about so much of what Benjamin would do if he was here right now. Would he be ashamed of me?" she asked. "Stop that right now," Tyler said. "Benjamin hasn't and will never be ashamed of you or stop loving you no matter what. You only killed to protect your baby," he said. "I know, but it shouldn't have been while I was carrying our child. This baby deserves better than having a killer like me for a mother," she said, upset. Tyler was shocked. "Carla said I would be a great mom, and here I am still doubting myself," he said. "I failed our community. I failed her, our family, Benjamin, and now our child," she said. "That is fucking bullshit!" Tyler said before stopping as he looked to the window as a light was flickering. "What in the world?" he asked. Present. Rachel and Tyler began to get dressed as they took bags from beneath their beds. We see the siblings outside as they looked around. Tyler made sure it was all clear before they kept going. They then made it to the trenches as they laid a board down, making a walkway. In the woods, we see them still carrying the bags as Tyler turned to his sister. "You didn't have to come with me. You should stay inside," he said. "I'm not letting you come out here all alone in the dark," she said. Suddenly, they were face to face with dark figures by the trees. They were holding guns. "Thanks for coming, guys," they said. We see Obadiah, Manny, Adrian, and Kat enter, greeting them as Tyler gave them the bags. "It was all we could scrounge," he said. Adrian took the bag as Manny and the others thanked the siblings. "Why don't you guys come live here with us? I'm sure they have plenty of room," she offered. "No, I'm sorry, Rachel. It's too dangerous for you and the baby. If we all lived here, the Patriots would definitely notice," Obadiah said. "It's our fault you have to leave the city in the first place," he told him. "It's not your fault. Patrick tricked all of you into thinking I agreed to the attack," she said before looking at Adrian. "Sorry," she said. "Don't be," Kat said. "The last thing we want is to put you and the baby in any more danger," she said. "That doesn't explain why we have to sneak our leftovers for you guys every week," Tyler said, annoyed. "You're right," he said. "We don't deserve this," he said. "Your family," Rachel said. "I hope Benjamin remembers that the next time he sees us and doesn't knock my teeth out," he said. "Guys, enough. Any idea when Alexa and Dan could be dead by now?" Rachel said, unsure and guilt-ridden. Back in the room, Liza listened to the tape and was heartbroken. Trevor finally stopped it as Liza quickly got up. Trevor looked on as Liza was not saying anything. She looked awful, full of sadness and anger. She grabbed her hair at the newfound sense of betrayal, heartbreak, and confusion. Tyler sat there in silence as he allowed Liza to unravel. "Commander," he said, as she quickly left the room. Liza abandoned him as he stood there alone, as we see her running away. Liza kept running as she made it to the bathroom. She went to the toilet and began violently puking into it. Liza was there all alone as she cried and puked into the toilet as her screams echoed on. In Eden the next day, Bethany was making breakfast for the Miller family as Rachel and Tyler were cleaning up. "Thank you for breakfast, Mrs. Miller," she said. "Yes, thank you," Tyler said, but Bethany didn't say anything. "Come on, girls, you best be getting to school now," she said, giving them their lunches. Yes, Mom. Yes, ma'am, they said, taking off. Bye, girls. Have a good day, Rachel said. Bye, everyone, they said, waving to Rachel and Tyler. Bethany caught that and was a little angry. Well, I should be getting to work, Isaiah said. Wait, dear, I don't have your lunch ready yet, she said. Mrs. Hunter, you two should be going as well, she said. Oh, I wanted to help you clean up, she said. No, that's quite all right. I can handle it. Wouldn't want you to strain yourself, she said in a weird way. Okay, thank you, Tyler said. I'll help you with dinner to make up for it, she said. Thank you, Bethany. Isaiah, she said. You're welcome, Isaiah said as they were leaving. As they left, Bethany closed the door and went to her husband. She sat down next to him, seriously. I need to talk to you, she said. What is it, dear? He asked. Late last night, I saw Mrs. Hunter and her brother go outside, she said. Really? He asked. Yes, they went past the Hoffmans, and I couldn't see them anymore. They came back 20 minutes later and went back to their rooms without making a sound, she said. I didn't want to wake anyone, so I waited to tell you, Bethany said. Do you think maybe they went to the outhouse? He asked, not getting her paranoia. Bethany huffed in anger. Oh, for heaven's sake, Isaiah, this is no time to be ridiculous, she said. Ridiculous? How am I being ridiculous? Bethany, you need to calm down. There is nothing suspicious about that girl or her brother, he said. Fine, don't believe me. Have a nice day, Isaiah, she said, taking off furiously. Bethany, Isaiah said. Lord, what am I going to do? Give me strength with that woman, he said. Another day later in Helios, we see Alice was walking as she knocked on the door. It opened as Liza greeted her. Hello, Dr. Warren. What can I do for you? She asked. Hello, Commander. She stopped, seeing her hand. Oh my God, what happened to your hand? Are you okay? She asked. Liza's hand was bandaged up. Oh, this. It's nothing. I broke glass last night, she said. Alice was unconvinced. Liza gave in. Okay, no, that's a lie. The truth is, I cut myself on purpose, she said. After Jessica and the boys, she said. It's okay. You don't need to tell me anymore if you don't want to. I don't judge you. You've been through so much. I'm here, though, if you ever need a friend to talk to, Alice said. Thank you, Alice. Maybe later. There are some things I need to take care of first, she said. Is there something I can do for you? She asked. Yes, I heard you were heading to Eden tomorrow, and I was wondering if I could tag along, she asked. Why? She asked her. I feel like my medical expertise could really benefit the community. Their medical knowledge is very outdated. I feel like I could make a difference there, she said. Liza smiled. And get away from all the drama here, she said. Alice's smile gave up. I can't lie to you either. That is part of it, she said. I don't feel safe here anymore, she said. I don't blame you. The shit show in the cafeteria, my family, the attack, and the security room break-in last month, she said, annoyed. Helios isn't what it used to be, Liza said. I won't disagree with you there, she told her. So is that a yes? She asked. Sure, you can come, she told her. We're leaving in 900 hours, she told her. Thank you so much, Commander. I guess I'll go pack up, she said. I'll request some more supplies for you to take, she said. I really appreciate that, Commander Brooks. Thanks again, she said. My pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow then, she said. See you tomorrow, Alice, Liza said as she closed the door. Minutes later, inside her room, Liza had a map on the table as she looked at it. It was a map of Helios with many markings on it. The map was color-coded with details on it as she pulled out a phone before taking a picture of it. In the cells, we see Liza talking with Sergeant Grayson. And that is your entire population? She asked. Yes, ma'am. 100,000 in total, he said. I see. Does your military possess tanks? She asked. No tanks, he said. Well, that's good. I appreciate this. You've given me a lot to think about, Sergeant Grayson. I will be back tomorrow with breakfast and a few more questions, she said, leaving him. Liza looked on confidently as she also began to smile. Later that day, we see Liza going to the general. Here is all the information I was able to acquire from the prisoners today, she said. Thank you, Commander. Wait, what the hell happened to your hand? He said, as he saw her bandaged hand. I drank too much last night and cut my hand on a broken bottle, she said. Don't worry, it won't affect my duties, and it won't happen again, she said. She tried to leave, but Caden stopped her. Wait, Liza, he said. I can tell you're holding a lot of pain inside. Please let me help you, he said. Liza moved away coldly. Thank you, General, but I will be fine. These new duties I have are keeping my mind busy from what happened, she said. I'm worried about you, he said. Don't worry, sir. I'll be fine, she said, walking away. 2 days earlier. Meanwhile, in the interrogation room, we see Caden beating on a prisoner as he pulls out his gun. He aimed it at Sergeant Grayson's head. Tell me where the CRM are, or I will fucking kill you, he demanded. The man didn't say anything. Is it really worth your life? He shouted. Still nothing. Caden was furious. Bring in the other Trevor, he said. The door opened as Trevor began dragging another CRM soldier, a female soldier, as Caden aimed his gun at her. She was scared. Tell me now, or she dies, he said. The woman was scared as she was crying. The man didn't say anything as Caden started counting. 5, 4, 3, he said, firing his gun, shooting her in the chest. She dropped dead on the ground as the man was upset. She's dead because of you, he told him. I still have 3 more of your friends. I'm sure they'll talk if I persuade them, he said. Trevor and Caden left the cell as the man was left all alone with the corpse of his comrade. Meanwhile, Benjamin was going through the hallways as he was carrying a bag full of supplies. We see Benjamin buying goods in the marketplace as he starts handing them out to random citizens. Benjamin went from place to place inside the marketplace, handing out certain things for the needy residents. They all smiled and thanked him, as Benjamin had a light smile on his face. Benjamin handed a man some cigarettes. He brought him inside the generator room as they cleaned everything. Benjamin helped him, filling up the generators with gas canisters. He also helped rechange the batteries. Wow, I've honestly had no idea it was this much work, he told him. Thanks for your help, Lieutenant, he said, surprised. You're so willing. No officer would be caught dead trying to do menial tasks for us, he said. I don't think any job in a community is beneath the person. Whether you're the leader, cook, or janitor, everyone is still a person and matters, he told him. Alright, well, thank you again for your help, he said. Of course. Happy to help. Let me know if I can help again, he said, walking away. The man locked the doors as Benjamin watched them. He then saw Alice. She smiled at him. They went over to the other hall. Benjamin saw her staring at him. Why are you staring? He asked. I'm not staring, she said, embarrassed. You hungry? She asked, changing the subject. I am, Benjamin said, smirking. They were sitting in the cafeteria as Benjamin looked around. Benjamin and her laughed as Benjamin drank his coffee. Alice continued to smile as they were talking. Benjamin then pulled out a photo of him and Rachel. What's this? She asked. My wife, he said, gently handing it to her. Please, don't get any food on it, he said. I won't, she said, as Alice took the small picture. She looked, seeing the beautiful woman, Benjamin's wife, in the picture. Wow, she is very beautiful, she said. Benjamin smiled. Thank you. That's why I married her, he said, chuckling. No, honestly, when I met her, I couldn't stop thinking about her. I stopped thinking about my trauma and how dangerous the world was. I couldn't sleep the first night thinking about her, he said. Rachel got me through the hardest parts of my life. She saved me from the most dangerous thing in the world, he said, as Alice listened on. Myself, he said. As Alice smiled. She's lucky to have a man like you, so devoted to her, she said, smiling, but she stopped looking past Benjamin. Her smile died as Benjamin also stopped smiling. Trevor, right? He asked, as several men were standing behind him. Black Wolf putting his snout where it doesn't belong again? Trevor asked. Trevor, don't you have a pole to stick up your own ass? He asked. Still such vulgar language in front of a lady, he said. Trevor pulled out a picture and tossed it to Benjamin. Benjamin looked at the bloody picture of a corpse, the devoured corpse. Bill got a makeover. What do you think? I think he looks the best I've ever seen him, Trevor said as Benjamin stood up. He headbutted Trevor as he pulled out his knife, slashing a Patriot's throat before kicking the other. Benjamin started beating on Trevor in front of everyone in the cafeteria as they all watched. Benjamin was struck from the side, but dodged an attack as he grabbed a glass, breaking it and ducking from a baton as he slammed another soldier against the table by kicking the back of his head, killing him. Everyone was running as Benjamin went all out. Later, we see Benjamin bloodied up as he was sitting in the cell. He was handcuffed from the back as Caden, Trevor, and Liza were standing outside his cell. Trevor covered in serious bruises. Caden paced back and forth. I told you he was still dangerous, he told him. Shut up, Trevor! Caden shouted. We need to find that brat, he said. Or his whore, Trevor said. Wife, Liza corrected. What fucking ever, Liza? I want you to stay and watch over things here. I'm gonna go scouting for Hunter's family again, he said. Understood, sir, she said as Caden left. In Eden 2 days later, Rachel, Mary, and Annie were sitting on a bench as Rachel watched Mary help her sister. And that's how you finish braiding hair, she said. That's amazing, Mary, she complimented her. Thank you. Did you used to braid hair? She asked. Not really. My sister and I like to keep our hair long, she said. Where is your sister? Annie asked. Rachel was a little saddened. I lost her 2 years ago, she told her. Oh, I'm sorry, she told her. Thank you, she told her. Rachel and them suddenly looked and saw the Patriots coming. Come on, girls, let's get you inside, she said. The trucks were coming to the property as everyone was moving out of the way. Inside the house, Tyler got down to the stairs. Mrs. Miller, do you see my sister anywhere? He asked. I don't know. I gotta go find my girls, she said. Stay upstairs. I'll go look for her too, she said. Tyler listened on and went back upstairs. Rachel and the other girls made it to the house. Rachel tried the door, but it was locked. Bethany! She called out. She opened the door and hugged the girls. Quick, come inside, she said. Is Tyler here? She asked. No, Bethany lied. Rachel was upset. I'll be right back, she said, going to the town to look for him. Upstairs in the window, Tyler looked on, seeing Rachel walking around the town. He saw her and looked on. He then heard the cars and looked at the window as he saw Liza, several Patriots, and a woman in a lab coat coming out of the cars. Liza began walking to the house as Tyler closed the door and opened the window, getting ready. 1 day prior, in Helios, we see Benjamin in the kitchen as part of his punishment. He was clearing dishes and washing them as Trevor came. There were other Patriots around him. They were filling bowls and plates with assorted food items, handing them out to the windows. Trevor came and smiled. Hey, he called out to one of them. How's the Black Wolf? He asked. He's behaving so far. We have him just washing dishes. If he so much as touches a knife, we got him, he said. Don't underestimate him. Even with a knife, he could kill you all in the back. That's why you're hiding your gun, right? He hasn't seen them on you at all, has he? Trevor asked. No, sir. Weapons are still concealed, he told him. Good, he said. Hey, Black Wolf! Shame you're doing dish duty. Was hoping you could make something nice and special for me, he said. Eat shit, Benjamin said. What? Trevor said. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear your bitch mumble. Speak up, he said. Benjamin came closer and looked him in the eyes. I was going to say, eat shit, but you're already so full of it, it wouldn't do anything, he said. Don't worry, Benji. We're almost there in finding your whore, he said, as Benjamin snapped, breaking a plate in half. Have fun in here. You're going to be here a long while, he said, happy, as Benjamin was furious. Present. In Eden, Alice was doing checkups in her new office. She treated kids as we see her also wrapping a man's arm in bandages. He'll be very sore, but the rack can come off in a week, she told him. Thank you, ma'am, he said, leaving. She hears a knock at the door as she sees Isaiah. Hello, Mr. Miller, what can I do for you? Need a checkup? She asked. Oh, no, not for me, he said. For my neighbor, he said. Come on in, dear, he said. Rachel came inside the house as she entered. I'll leave you two alone. Got work to do. Bye, Rachel, Isaiah said. Thank you. Hello, Dr. Warren, she greeted the doctor. Alice looked up, seeing Rachel as she said hello. Her smile stopped as she stared at Rachel for a considerable amount of time. Rachel was uncomfortable and began to get nervous. Dr. Warren, are you all right? She asked. Alice snapped out of it. Yes, I'm sorry. Long day today, she said. Well, come, sit down, and let's see how your baby is doing, she said, trying to not give it away. Rachel came inside and sat down. She was a little nervous holding her stomach as Alice kept staring at her. Let's, get started, shall we? She said. On the road, we see Sean walking all by himself as he looked around for supplies. Cars, store shelves were all empty. Sean was tired and hungry as he sat down. Suddenly, he heard some walkers outside. He looked at them and hid quietly. He sat back down, looking at the picture of Benjamin and the family. Suddenly, the walkers stopped growling, and he turned very alarmed. He saw a small convoy of Patriot soldiers on the road, and the general. Shit, he said. Sean ran to the back as fast as he could. 1 week ago, in the woods, we see Obadiah, Kat, Manny, and Adrian looking at the map when a walker was coming. I got it, Adrian said, going to kill it. Okay. We'll be completely out of food in 3 days, she said. I say we head back to Helios. Wait for our moment to strike, and then attack, Manny said. Don't be stupid, Obadiah said. With the amount of ammo we have, and the 4 of us, we'd only make it worse. I think we should head to the Dawson farm, she says. It's too far away. We should stay here, Adrian stated. And what, starve? Not to mention if we do that, that might put Rachel and the baby in danger, she said. Well, one thing's for certain. We can't agree on anything, Manny said. Maybe if you weren't so damn stubborn, Obadiah said. Oh, I'm stubborn! Manny took offense as Adrian turned to them. Shut up! I can't think! Kat looked through her binoculars, seeing an Amish woman talking with a Patriot. She looked closer as she saw who it was. Is that the commander? She asked. What are they doing? She asked as Liza and someone went somewhere quiet. And you're certain it's Rachel Hunter? Liza asked. Yes, the girl came with her brother last week. They were hungry and exhausted. She said, pulling out a basket. They were wearing these, she said. On the other side in the alleyway in the distance, we see a Patriot in a Humvee, staying hidden as he was using a police scanner to eavesdrop on their conversation. Who else knows about this? She asked. Just my family, she said. Don't tell anyone else, Liza said. Wait, why are you telling me all of this? I thought Amish people had a thing for helping those in need, she asked. We do. I mean no ill will towards her and her child. Or a brother, but to be perfectly honest, the girl does not belong here, she told her. I just want my family to be safe, she said. Present time. Back in the Commonwealth internment zone, we see Lance going over his journal when Matt came in. General, what can I do for you? He asked. I was hoping you could tell me something about that boy who you interviewed, he said. Lex Parks told me everything we needed to know about these people. The boy is from Huntington. We can go see President Milton and discuss our next course of action, he said. We can? Hold your horses, Hornsby. You're only an auditor. You have no actual power inside the Commonwealth, he told him. Lance lost his smile. You're right. I'm simply looking after the well-being of our community, he said. I'll bet you are, Matt said, getting up. Oh, in general, I have a feeling great things will come soon. Great things indeed, he said. Matt didn't say anything and left, closing the door as Lance grinned, smiling. Caden and his group are on the road, quickly killing walkers as he looked around. I want a sniper up in that water tower and watching our backs, he told him. Understood, sir. General, he heard. Team Bravo, report, he said. We're 10 miles west of your position. Discovered a herd, trying to redirect it elsewhere. No sign of the girl or kid, he said. Understood, Miles said. Sir, we may have found something, he said. Caden and them made it to a large apartment complex. They see some dead biters. Look, this biter was a cop, he said. There's nothing in his pockets. They might have come here, the soldier told him. Good find, he said. I want the entire building sweep. 1 team stays here in the front, 1 in the back, and 2 going inside with me, he said. Caden and his men entered the complex as we see Sean inside. Sean was taping something together with duct tape. Caden and them entered the complex, looking around. They went past many dead corpses as Caden looked, seeing a dead family, ignoring it as he kept looking. Sean was inside the building, 2nd story, watching the soldiers in the front. Sean then pulled out a propane tank that was covered with nails. Sean lifted it as he dropped it down. The propane rolled to them as they were surprised, and it rolled, hitting a soldier as it dropped down. Sean then fired his gun, hitting the propane tank. It exploded. The tank exploded in a fiery cloud explosion, killing all the soldiers that were in the building. Caden and them were alarmed as they heard the explosion. What the fuck was that? He asked. Sean then pulled his gun and fired it at the killing soldier as he closed and locked the door. He's over here! They shouted. Sean then went to the window and began to push a mattress up as he angled it to the window. Come on! He said as he pushed it out the window. The mattress landed outside on the ground. Sean then got out of the window when the door was broken. Sean jumped, barely dodging a rapid fire of bullets. Sean then fell 20 feet as he landed on the mattress. Sean quickly got up. As Caden looked outside the window, he saw biters beginning to eat the corpses of his men. Sean ran from them and the dead. Caden aimed his gun, firing as Sean ran into the woods. Fucking kid! He shouted. In the Commonwealth Center, we see the general by a radio. Uh-huh. Yes. Yes, sir. I completely understand. Thank you. Goodbye, he said, finishing as Carlson came in. Was that the president? He asked. Yes. He wanted to know our status. I told him that the city was in no danger whatsoever, he said. Honestly, I can't wait to go back. I've been missing my kids for a while, he told him. Carlson came closer. You never talked about their mother, he asked. She was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I took her for granted. I was always away, always working, he told Carlson. I was barely around from them growing up. She would take them to school. Didn't trust the bus drivers. Every time I came home, I could see their smiles, joy on their faces, he said. And then behind that, I would see the pain, the true pain, the hurt, never being there. It's the same kind of pain I saw in that boy, he said. Sir, with all due respect, you can't save everyone. Some people are just a lost cause, Carlson said. I once thought that about my son. He was always causing trouble. When he hit 15, he started sneaking out of the house, drinking and hanging out with the wrong crowd. Stephanie begged me to quit, but instead I decided that he needed to be shown the right path. Focus his energy into something else. 5 years later, he would go on to West Point. Proudest day of my life, he stated. I see the exact same thing in that boy, the pain in his face when he was talking to me. I could see that he was a troubled and angry kid who was just hurt, but deep down still had a good heart. I can't let that kid die out there. I couldn't live with myself, he said. This is no world for kids to grow up in, Matt said. Suddenly the doors opened. Sir, we have a situation! he told them. The Commonwealth soldiers went outside and saw Humvees and a sizable group of Patriots were outside their doors. The general told everyone to line up. "Get every rifle ready," he said. Matt went over to Caden with a force of 10 soldiers. "Who are you?" he asked. "General Miles of the Patriots of America," he told him. "I see. May I ask what you're doing here?" he asked. "I'm looking for a kid." "This kid," he said. He handed Matt a photo. Matt looked at it as he sees Sean. "Teenage boy, black hair, complete psychopath," he said. "Is he your son?" he asked. "Huh, God no," Caden said, as Matt pocketed him. "I'm afraid I haven't seen a kid like that around here," he told him. Caden smiled. "You have a good poker face, old man, but I know you're lying." He cocked his gun. He dropped his mat with this place marked. "He was here," he said. "Well, he's not anymore," Matt said. "Are you even really a general?" he asked. "Are you?" Matt said, drawing his gun. Sean was in the woods looking at the confrontation. "Look, lobster man, I know that fucking kid is here. So, tell me where he is, or," he said, aiming his gun at him. "Drop your weapon right now!" he shouted. Sean took his gun out and then aimed it at him. "I know what this fucking place is. You find stray survivors and bring them here, right? Yeah, I know a guy who used to do that exact same fucking pointless thing last year, and now he works for me. Want to be the second?" Caden said. Everyone looked on as the Commonwealth soldiers and Patriots all aimed their guns at one another. Sean aimed his gun and fired off multiple shots, nearly hitting Caden as blood poured down his head. His eye was bleeding as part of his ear was shot off. "Fucking fuck!" he shouted. Caden and everyone opened fire. The Commonwealth soldiers ambushed from the side and gunned down many Patriots as Caden held onto his bleeding ear. Another group of Patriots ambushed them from the side and fired wildly between several Commonwealth soldiers. The Commonwealth soldiers began pouring out of the building and saw them taking pot shots on the roof. The Patriots were outmatched. They ran for the vehicles as they chased them away. The Commonwealth continued to fire and chasing them off. "We got him, sir! Let's finish them off!" "No, wait!" he said, as they looked, seeing at least 5 dead Commonwealth soldiers. The rest were angered. "We can't let him get away with this, sir!" Carlson said. "Right now, we need to treat everyone who's injured and inform the president," Matt said. "Hey, don't move!" a soldier said. Matt stopped as he turned around. He sees Sean raising his hands as he revealed himself. "I'm sorry. This is all my fault," he said to them. Back inside, we see Matt talking with Sean as Carlson and Lance were all outside waiting for him to finish. "And that's when I decided to turn back. I wasn't going to make it on my own. They were going to catch me and use me against my brother. I decided it would have been better if I didn't. I'm so sorry about your men," he said. "All I ever do is bring pain and trouble everywhere I go," he said. Matt looked at Sean. "Can you show me on this map where they came from?" he asked. Sean pointed on the map. "They also have an outpost at this dam and a community here," he said. "In Greensville?" he asked. "Yeah, I was trying to head there before you and your people found me," he asked. "Why? If that's also his community?" he asked. "They owed my brother a favor, and it's far and easier to hide from them there," he said. "Why does he want you?" Matt asked. "My older brother was our leader. Caden kidnaps leaders of communities and uses them as hostages against those same communities. They have Humvees, guns, and people. A lot of people. We tried to fight them once before, but we failed," he said. "They killed my sister," Sean cried. The general stepped outside of the room and went onto the higher elevation as multiple soldiers were gathered. He stood before them. "Attention! As you all know, roughly 2 hours ago, this facility was attacked by an outside force, militia. We suffered 5 casualties. We will be remiss for their service, and we will send them back home so their families can properly mourn for them. However, the fact stands that they were our brothers and sisters, and they will be avenged," he said, as everyone looked on in anger, fury, excitement, and worry. "That's right! This will not go unpunished. We'll be marching a direct counter-attack, effective immediately," he said. President Milton has authorized a full-on attack on the unknown enemy force. He's relinquishing 200 soldiers to our aid and all the equipment we need. This isn't just a one-band attack. This is a well-organized militia that attacked us, and now that they've seen us, this won't be the last. We're not letting them get away with this. They also have other communities in the state of Ohio. They're not that far from us, he said. So what are we going to do, sir? The soldier asked. Strike them first, he said. I got some more calls to make. We'll be leaving at 0600 hours. Dismissed, he said. They looked at one another as the general left the room. Inside, Sean was crying until he stopped. He then smiled, wiping the fake tears from his face. 3 days ago, at nighttime, Benjamin was in his room, staring at the ceiling, trying not to fall asleep as best he could. He went to his bathroom sink, splashing water on his face, when he heard a slight sound. A piece of paper slid from the room door. He went over to it and took it. Looking at it, he opened it up and read it, front to back. Hours pass as the time hits the 3 a.m. He then goes to the door. To his surprise, Benjamin looked, seeing no one was on the other side of it as he was in the hallway. He closed the door as the ringing was still going. Benjamin walked through the hallway. It was all quiet. He quietly moved through the hall, moving to the side as a group of soldiers walked past him. Think we'll actually find out where the CRM live? One asked. We better, or the general will lose it, he said. Yeah, he's on the warpath. You should have seen him on that farm. He beat some girl's father to death a few weeks back, he said. Benjamin listened on. He was looking angry to hear the news. He quietly moved to the rest of the stairs, climbing up as he made it to the door. He slowly opened it up. As the door opened, Benjamin walked into the night as he was now on the roof. He looked at the note again. He looked around the night sky. Alone on the roof, Benjamin turned and shouted. Come on out! He shouted. The figure stepped outside of cover as Benjamin looked to see Commander Liza. Hello, Lieutenant Hunter, she said. Long silence as Benjamin stood there. He clenched his fists. The two of them stood there on the roof, but Benjamin charged her. Wait! She reached for her gun, but Benjamin was faster. He slammed her against the ground, completely tackling her before taking the gun from her and aiming it at her head. Benjamin stood on top of her, angry. There was a long silence. If you kill me, shut the fuck up! He said. There were other figures on the roof. Benjamin heard them and pulled Liza as he used her as a hostage. Back the fuck up now! He shouted. Back up, it's okay, she said. But Commander, the soldier said. I said back up! She shouted. See? I'm not here to hurt you, she said. No, but I am, Benjamin said, as he bashed the gun against her hand, breaking it as she clenched it, screaming. Benjamin then grabbed Liza and with one hand shoved her to the edge of the building. They were on the roof's edge as the soldiers aimed their guns. Hunter, don't do it! They shouted. Benjamin dangled her over the edge with one hand as he aimed his gun with the other one right at the soldiers. They were at a standoff as Ben watched on, smiling. Kill them! Do it! He told him. You kill me, and they'll kill you, she said. I'm fine with that, Benjamin said coldly. At least you'll be dead. If it wasn't for you, Carla and the others would still be alive, he said angrily. Ben was next to him. Drop the bitch, he told him. How many more people died because of you? I heard about Liza and the boys too, he said. Caden killed them. I know he did it, he said. I know, she said. And Trevor killed Alan too, she said, as Benjamin was saddened to hear that. Fuck, Benjamin said. I told you shouldn't have gotten him involved, Ben said. That's why I need your help, and that's why you need mine. I can help you kill Caden, she said. You're lying, he said. No, I'm not, she stated. I know where your wife is, she said. Benjamin's cold expression dropped as he was shocked to hear that. He then saw Chloe and the other Patriots from the CRM mission. Benjamin pulled her from the ledge. Where is she? He asked. She's in Eden, Liza told him. Along with her brother, Tyler, she said. Benjamin had a sign of relief. She's lying, Ben said. Has to be. She's been living with the Millers for the last few weeks, she told him. How do I know you're not lying? You don't, but I don't think it will be long before Trevor and Caden find out where she is too, she said. Bethany Miller told me she was in the community. She was trying to throw her under the bus, she said. Fucking what? He said. Don't worry, I don't think anyone else knows about her yet, she told him. Why do you want my help? He asked. Why not just slit Caden's throat yourself? He asked. I would, but he doesn't trust me anymore, and as soon as I do that, Trevor will immediately take over command. Not many will follow me after doing that. They'd want blood, she stated. Trevor was the one who told me. I can see it for a mile. He's trying to manipulate me. He's turning Caden and I against one another. Trevor's goal is for the both of us to kill each other so he can take charge, she said. All right, let's say I believe you really want justice on Caden for killing your family. But make no mistake, when this is over, I will kill you, he said. That's fine. I don't expect to survive this war, she said. None of us will survive it with just a skeleton crew, he told her. No, we won't. We're outnumbered, but that can change. With Sergeant Grayson's help here, I can trick Caden into sending numerous soldiers out north. The first order of business is that you and the CRM soldiers here, like Sergeant Grayson, Sergeant, I will falsify information to Caden about where the CRM are located. He'll send a large scouting mission there. We have to make sure all your stories match, she stated. Consider it done. But what about our helicopter? Sergeant Grayson asked. That's not part of the deal, she said. In order for our escape to properly work, Benjamin will escape by car with the rest of us. I will stay here and gather the remaining forces and take this place back from Caden and his remaining loyalists. Sergeant, I assure you we'll destroy it. You and your team are free to go, but Caden needs to chase after you on foot. The helicopter is too heavily guarded right now. Even I couldn't get you all there before we got found out. And then the whole plan will be fucked, she said. Once we make it back, our superiors will come and destroy this place, he said. That's right, which is the goal. Everyone innocent here will go back home with Benjamin, which is why I'm not telling you where his home is. Mr. Hunter, I need you to bait Trevor, she told him. I don't think that will be a problem, he said. One day later, we see Benjamin in his cell. I will start a fight in the cafeteria, injure Trevor, causing as much hell as possible. They will punish you by making you do grunt work in the cafeteria, she said. Then, I will bring your escape equipment. We see Liza bringing boxes and bags on a cart. Give this for Hunter to unpack, she told one of the... Understood, Commander, he said, as he puts it in the back room. Hunter, unload this in the storeroom. The next day, at night, we see everyone gathered on the roof. Benjamin handed the plans to everyone. Liza will set up the road traps, while I slow Trevor and them down, he told them. Liza came. I'd like to introduce you all to Mr. Omar Robinson. I'll talk to my family and convince them. Benjamin shook his hand. Nice to properly meet you. Thank you for helping us, he said. Appreciate it, he told him. By all means, I've been kept from my family for nearly 2 years, he told him. It's the least I could do since you helped save my son, he told him. I was only killing the trappers, he told him. You helped track them down in the city. You helped them find my son. I can't fight, but I'll give you everyone I can spare. Take back your home. Just see to it that Caden and Trevor pay for everything they've done, he told him. I will, Benjamin told him. Present, in a large meeting room, we see standing before over 100 Patriots in a large room. Trevor was showing the Patriots the tape recording. Everyone was beyond horrified to hear the heart-wrenching screams of Jessica and the boys being gunned down by Caden. Does the commander know about this? They asked. She does, Trevor told him. but I don't know if she can be trusted anymore. I've discovered evidence that she is aligning herself with the other communities, with the rebels from last year, he told him. No, there's no way the commander will betray us, they stated. The soldiers all murmured to one another as Trevor shut them up. Trevor then passed out pictures for everyone. The commander has been both to Greensville and Eden in the last 2 days and back, while the general has been away. And if that wasn't bad enough, we're missing over 24 assault rifles, 20 handguns, 1,000 rounds of ammunition, and 14 pairs of armor from the armory. There have been strange sounds going on every night in the prisoner's cells. The last entry was forged by her with the general's handwriting, he stated. I know you all don't want to believe it, but we can no longer deny it. The commander and general are compromised. I'm sure you all have seen it as well as I have. The general is not the man he used to be. He executed Dr. Evans, Lieutenant Hill, and many others too. No fair trial for any of them, he told them all. He showed the pictures, then, of their corpses. Good men from this community. Maybe some of them betrayed us. Maybe they made mistakes. But did they really have to go out like that? He asked. And then there's Hunter, the Black Wolf, he said, as everyone looked on and worried. We gave him chance after chance, and he killed dozens of our people. We tried to welcome him as one of our own, but he disrespected us at every turn, killed even more of our people. How many of your loved ones has he killed? He feels no regret for his horrible actions. He's a demon in our home. I assigned Dr. Warren to help him, and he threatened to kill her. He helped his brother escape from her lab, and he killed more of our people. He framed Chris for the 2 soldiers killed by the security office. He's a danger to our community. So is the general, but he doesn't care. The general lets him get away with anything. He would even let him get away with killing me too. What about you all, or your friends, or family? No one person in this community should ever have free reign to kill whoever they wanted and get away with it, he said. They all shouted, agreeing with him. We are the Patriots, and we will fight for America, he shouted. That's right, they shouted. We are the future. We are strong. We are one. We fight as one, he shouted. Everyone cheered on when suddenly the lights went out. Everyone screamed in worry and confusion. They heard an explosion as Trevor got on the radio. Attention, generator room 01. This is Captain Dallas requesting immediate power restoration, he said. Suddenly, they began to hear other sounds. Trevor pulled on the emergency flare as it lit up the room, as the other Patriots did the same. Come on, he shouted. Several minutes later, we see Trevor and his group of Patriots running down the halls, flashlight in arms, down the corridors armed with rifles. Sir, are you sure this is the Black Wolf? He asked. I'm fucking positive that it is, Trevor stated. Why aren't any of the other soldiers there responding? A soldier asked. I have no idea, Trevor said, as they made it outside to the cafeteria. He got everyone to be quiet as they were heading inside the dark room. Be ready for anything, he told them. The radio went off. Sir, backup generator should be online now, he said, as the lights finally turned on, lighting up the whole room. They didn't expect the sight. There was blood everywhere. Alone, with the reanimated and dead corpses of many Patriots. Bodies were everywhere, definitely over 100. The reanimated Patriots who were starting to eat their fallen comrades, as many of them had gunshot and stab wounds on them. Everyone was horrified at the brutal sight, except for Trevor, who looked on at anger and fear as he looked out on the wall. Written in blood were the words, "You're next."